Hi everyone, it's Lorraine Hurst here from Cooking Good and from Healthworks, and I'm really delighted to introduce to you today a video about making cottage pie. And we have a lovely video for you about how to use the hidden veg sauce that was in earlier in the series, and how to add to that and create a cottage pie. And then as the series goes on, we've also got how to use that sauce to make some other brilliant ingredients as well. So just to show you what you could be using in terms of equipment, you'll need a large pan. You will need a masher. That's going to help you to mash the meat. You need a chopping board and a knife, some sort of sharp chopping knife, and you will need maybe a wooden spoon or one of these types of wooden spoons to mash. If you don't have a masher, then something like this would be really useful to sort of break up the meat that you're cooking for your cottage pie or your shepherd's pie. So without much further ado, I will show you the video that includes Farah and Donna, who are going to show you how to make cottage pie and touch about the different ingredients that you can put in there. There's also a link for this recipe below, bearing in mind the Donna and Farah are using some extra lentils in there, which are not in the video, but as long as you put enough liquid into your mixture, then you'll be able to add the lentils as well, which are cheap and make the food go a lot further and make everybody feel full and happy when they're eating their food. So enjoy the video.
What are you going to make now, Donna?
I'm going to make the savoury mince that you would usually use to make a cottage pie.
Lovely. Okay, so we've got our sauce cooking over there. We've got Donna getting herself ready. And I'm just going to show you how to cube up a courgette. So I've got courgette, I've cut it in half. I'm going to cut it in half again. I've washed my veg. We always wash our veg. So I've cut it in half again. Safety, always have the flat side down on the chopping board. So when you have it on the rolly side or the curved side, it always sort of is just less manageable. So I've got it on the flat side. I'm just going to cut it into 3 strips, and then I'm going to just cube it nice and small. So we don't want it too big for this dish, do we, Donna?
No, we want it quite nice and small, because I'm actually going to use this mince mixture to make some other dishes as well. And not everybody likes courgette, so could you chop it a little bit finer for me?
Yes, I can.
So we can have it a bit more hidden and stop cubes dissolving.
So it's really good because we've got courgette in our sauce, haven't we? That we're going to use as well. So then we've got extra courgette here. So we've got double whammy of veg, which is what we like, isn't it?
Now my pan got a little bit hot there as I added the oil. I'm just going to add this minced pork and beef mixture into the pan. Make sure you take the paper off as well. You can use any kind of mince you like. This is a mixture of beef and pork. You can use turkey or lamb or just beef on its own, depending on what's your taste really and what's available in the shops when you go shopping. You can break it up with the back of a wooden spoon.
I was going to ask that. You can just use a wooden spoon instead of that.
You can, or you can use a potato masher, it's quite good as well. I have this gadget that I call a nerdler that I've had in my kitchen for years, and it's just very good at sort of chopping through it and breaking it up, because you want all of the meat to be in nice small pieces so that it can brown evenly. That's great.
Is that better? Did you want me to chop some mushrooms?
Great. Yeah, a few mushrooms in would be lovely. Thank you.
Here.
So while that just sizzles,
do you want to do that?
No, you go ahead. That's great. You're faster at chopping than I am. We're also going to add a couple of cloves of garlic.
Okay.
So that would be good. And some carrots that are diced, and a diced onion. So I have some onion that we sliced earlier that I'm just going to chop a bit finer.
Did I use all the carrot? I did, didn't I?
Yes, I think so.
Little tea.
So I'm just going to...
That was little tea.
some onions just a bit finer. Try not to cry while you're doing it.
So you like your veg quite fine then, Donna?
Well, I have children.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I think
that's
sometimes,
different.
yeah. I think that's the thing is if you've got kids, you know, you want to get as much veg into their food as possible, don't you? And so the smaller you chop it.
Yeah. If you're making a stock or a soup or something and you chop it finer, it cooks a bit more quickly as well.
That's another good point.
And as a mum, I often find I'm doing things at the last minute, so the quicker they cook, the better. All right.
Yeah, and you're saving energy as well, aren't you? Like the gas or the electric when you're...
Yeah, so you can see that's quite finely chopped there, most of that.
Lovely.
Put some herbs in for a nice bit of flavouring. So try and keep it, you know, just very tasty. And then I can use this mixture to as a basis for making other things like a chilli or a bolognese.
Okay.
Cottage pie. You know, once you've got your nice savoury mince mixture with your veg
You can
and your
make it into all
onions and
sorts of
things,
things.
it's so versatile.
And you can double that amount, can't you, as well, and freeze it?
You can, yeah. I have a really big pan that I sometimes use and I cook up a great big batch. I think that's, if you get a day free at the weekend or just a morning, it's nice to do some batch cooking and get some meals for a couple of weeks put away in the freezer.
Yeah. So you can sort of freeze them in the little takeaway containers, can't you, that you might use, or anything really.
Yeah,
and then just stick in the freezer.
Ice cream tubs
Yeah,
that you
that's a
saved,
good
or
idea.
takeaway tubs come in plastic ones with lids, or I'm an IKEA fan, so I have some of their lovely glass dishes with
they're
the plastic
great, aren't they?
lids,
They're
and they
really
can
handy.
go straight in the oven then.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've got some veg. You wanted some garlic as well, didn't you?
I love a couple of cloves of garlic, please.
Because there's only just
So in goes the onion. So all that mince is browned off now. The onion's gone in. Just give that a good mix around. Now at this stage, because I've got a large family and I'm cooking on a budget, I quite often add some lentils into the recipe, which I'm going to show you today. So I have a bowl here of just simple red lentils that you can buy in a packet. I've rinsed them to get off any dust and starches and things that come in the packet, and then literally add them in.
So they're dried then, aren't they? They're dried red lentils. We've got a little bag here. So they're dried red lentils. And they're what, about £1 a bag?
Yes, I think they might be cheaper than that.
Yeah, so you get 59p sometimes, I think, in some shops.
Yeah.
Aren't they? And you use what, about 250 grams of that, roughly?
I use, well, it depends how much meat I've got really. I add less than the amount of meat that I've got.
Okay.
So, you know, if I've got 400 grams of meat, I might add sort of like 200 or 300 grams of lentils.
Okay.
And it just makes your meat go an awful lot further. Gives you
Yes.
some extra vegetable protein and fibre.
Yeah, lovely.
And makes your whole meal cheaper.
Yeah.
So they're all coated in the oil and fat that we put in and that has come off the meat. You can get various levels of minced meat. Some have a lot more fat in than others. I like to have a bit of fat in mine for flavour, but I don't go for the one that's got a huge amount because I find you then having to skim a lot of fat off at the end. Right, so would you like to add some
Yeah, just chuck it in,
those in? I'll nick those. That's what I do when I'm making a quick soup sometimes, you know, stock, load of grated veg from the food processor and some, you know, different flavourings, and you can have a variety of soups, you know, literally in about 10 minutes.
Lovely, that's what you want. So how long are you going to stir that for before you add it?
Well, I make sure everything's, you know, in and cooked. Because this pan isn't huge, I'm going to leave some of that out for now.
Yeah, you won't be able to fit it in.
I'm going to put that garlic in.
think there's about 4 cloves there. So we're
Yummy.
getting quite a lot of garlic.
But I've done quite a big batch of mince here,
Yeah,
so
that is quite good.
you want that flavour. You want to have lots of flavour. Okay, I've made up some stock here, and I'm going to add the tomato puree to that. So we'll have, just make sure I'm not missing anything out. Yeah, so for a normal sized batch I'll probably put about 2 tablespoons in, so I'm going to put 4 in.
Okay.
Make it nice and rich. I tend to squeeze it into my stock so that I can mix it all together.
That's a good idea.
There we go.
Ah, so you're not going to use the tomato sauce then, you're going to use the stock.
Yes, because this gets absorbed by the lentils and stuff
Yes,
while it's
okay.
cooking. And if you make our hidden vegetable sauce, you can add that at this stage as well.
Yeah, as well as the stock.
If you're putting the lentils in, you'll need some stock
Yeah,
as well,
because
because
it
the
needs the
lentils
water.
absorb
That's right.
quite a lot.
So you could do half and half, couldn't you? You could do half stock and half
Yeah.
tomato sauce.
Yeah.
That's cooking in the background now, which is almost ready. Lovely.
It's really making use of what you've got available.
Yeah. So let's say if you've cooked your tomato sauce, your batch of tomato sauce, you can take one out of the freezer and you can possibly put it in
Yeah.
there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just add some black pepper. And a few mixed herbs. So I've added, you know, a good few teaspoons there of herbs. They smell wonderful. You smell
Yes,
that?
I can. Smells good.
All right, so we'll just
Lovely.
turn that one down and let it simmer. Right, so this is the savoury mince mixture that we've been making. It's been simmering with a lid on the top for about 20 minutes. And you can see those lentils that we put in have all disappeared. They're sort of magically included in there but invisible to the human eye, which is great when you've got children. So it looks just like your normal cottage pie mixture would do. All the liquid I put in is absorbed nicely into the lentils, so you're left with like a nice meat and gravy mixture. What I'm going to do next is mix a portion of that with some Worcestershire sauce. You don't need to add this if you don't like the flavour, but it's a traditional thing to put in a shepherd's pie or cottage pie. I'm going to put a few peas in, because not everybody wants to have their vegetables on the side of their dish, and it just gives you another taste and texture in the dish. While this has been bubbling away and the lentils absorbing the liquid, I have peeled, chopped and boiled some potatoes, just in boiling water. I haven't added any salt because I prefer to add it at the end with some pepper.
Are your peas frozen?
My peas are frozen, and they are actually still semi-frozen. It's very rare to get good fresh peas, so I use frozen peas. These are petit pois, which are nice and small. But if you prefer large peas, you can use those as well. They don't really need cooking before adding in because they're so small that you just mix them with the other things in your bowl, as I'm just going to show you. And then we're going to top with the mashed potato. I literally, once I'd drained the water from the potatoes, added a nice knob of butter and a big splash of milk, and you'll see that's all mashed up and nice and creamy. Not too many lumps, not like school dinners.
And the peas will just defrost in the mix, won't they? Because there's so much heat.
They will. So as I'm going to use the savoury mince mixture to make more than one dish, I made a double batch, I'm just going to put some in this dish here and literally mix it in the dish. So this will be enough to serve 2 people comfortably that I'm doing in this dish. Depending, you know, on the size of your family, you know, decide how much you want to cook or save for other meals. Okay. Let's probably serve 3 actually. I think, quite
good,
easily.
good portions. And would you serve veg on the side with that as well?
I would serve veg on the side because I'm always trying to get as many portions of
Yeah,
veg
so
in the
same
day as
here.
possible.
So things like steamed broccoli or cauliflower.
Green beans.
Green beans
Oh,
is
I
a
love
good
green
one, yeah.
beans.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
And again, they can be fresh or frozen, can't they?
They can. Use what veg is in season and to your taste.
Yeah.
Try some new ones sometime. It's amazing how many different vegetables are available that we don't know about. I sometimes shop from a community fridge or community larder, and you often get some unusual veg there that you don't always notice in the supermarket. I think we get in the habit, don't we, of having
using
the same veg.
ones, yeah, we do.
So you can see I've just mixed that all around. I like baked potatoes because I love potato skin, but it doesn't quite look the same on a shepherd's pie or a cottage pie if you've got lumps of skin in the mash.
Well, I was just going to say, you could actually bake a potato and serve the mince on the side of that, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's a good idea, and you know, often that saves you the time of putting your cottage pie or shepherd's pie back in the oven to brown. And if your meat mixture has been mixing for quite a long time and heating so it's all thoroughly cooked, you can just top it with the mash and put it under a grill to brown
Yeah,
it,
that's quicker, isn't it?
which saves time.
That's another way to do it.
So there's our cottage pie. I'm going to put it in the oven for around about 25 minutes at about 180. If your ovens are different, just wait until you can see that you've got nice golden crispy bits on top and it's ready to eat.